Initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5,
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, Guy Next Door.
Me, DK.
And me, Van.
Bringing you your weekly double tap of all things Space Marines and Laser Force. Good morning, chat. Or good afternoon, I don't know. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is in your
Good
world.
evening.
One of those
It's
things.
in that strange phase now where it's like we're moving into daylight saving, you guys are about to leave, so our show is at drastically different times from week to week. You never know what you're going to get here on the Resupply.
That's right.
I mean, well, that's just accurate just in general. You
Yeah.
never know what the fuck you're going to get with this show at any given moment in time. So, whatever.
Sometimes we don't even know until, like, we go live, so,
No, let's call it what it is. Usually, we don't know until we're going live. I'm like,
I usually have a good
Mama
idea.
said life was like the Resupply.
you never know what you're going to get.
Hello to you, my brothers. It's very nice to see you. It's very nice to see you all in chat. Hopefully everyone's having a good day or night, depending on wherever you are and what time it is. Ducky, 21 months. Let's. There's a big old group of you that have been subbed and have been supporting the channel since basically day dot. So, dude, thank you so much.
It doesn't include any of the hosts, but thank you.
I mean, I don't have to pay for this channel, which is nice. But you guys use your Prime subs, I think. Oh, I've got a Prime sub.
No, I actually pay.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I do.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
So ultimately, you're paying kind of yourself for your watching of the show.
I think he's paying me. I think he's paying me for the show.
He probably gets at least the value of a sub back, on our tiny little checks that we get cut every 6 months or so.
The crumbs that I choose to wipe off my plate and feed to you.
You sprinkle them myself there.
I hope everyone's had a good week off the back of last week's show. I really enjoyed last week's show. It's always bittersweet, the kind of like recap pods or the first pods back after we come back from a tournament. So thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good to hang out and talk about like actual Laser Force stuff. And in true Resupply fashion, we're gonna milk that content until the udder runs dry, as they say. Glitter crumb still falls on his beard.
There's a nice visual for you.
Just to add to it.
Don't ever do that again.
You're welcome. I'm gonna send that to you. I'm gonna make that an animated GIF. There's gonna be the new emote. Speaking of new emotes, we have a few that are on the way. Twitch have been like, hey, shower people with emotes. And I'm like, okay. I had an idea just before we went live, actually. I'm going to hit up Spider-Wisp and see if they can animate the chair throw emote for us, because I think that'd be really cool. But our good friend and talented artiste, Lucy, all the way from the Czech Republic, is currently designing about half a dozen emotes for us. So 2 of them are ready to go. I didn't see them because I was asleep, but they will be ready to go probably by the end of next week. Ooh, look at that half-past logo. I'm about to tag. Are you subbed at that tier 3? That's awfully awesome. Thank you very much. I'm actually representing today. Look at that. You got that bad boy.
It is.
I would like to be representing, but somebody in this group forgot to bring me my shirt a couple of weeks ago.
And it wasn't me.
It was such a shame too, because like I had everything like written on a list and everything was sorted, and then the box that I had all the garments and got put in a place where it was behind some other stuff, so it completely flaked. But those will get sent out this week. Anyone waiting on blue sin hats, those will arrive next week. Lucy's stuff should arrive in 4 to 6 months, however long it takes to ship stuff to the Czech Republic. Yeah, exactly right. Than would like to be representing, but someone read Than's t-shirt. Exactly right. No. I like that shirt, by the way. It's awesome.
It is definitely one of the most me shirts that I own.
Yeah.
It just is. It just is.
It's almost as if like we in the Twitch overlay we just put like your own subtitle for you, but no, it's that's built in.
It's a feature, not a bug.
It's already been captioned.
What have you guys been up to this week? Have you guys done anything interesting? Anything like kind of cool worth talking about, or should we just move on?
I mean, I got the absolute joy of having to fix my garage door opener Wednesday night because it decided to, that the belt decided to come off, and that was 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. And as Steve-O falls the fuck asleep because, hey, you asked if we had done anything. Okay, it wasn't interesting, but I felt very accomplished for having actually fixed it.
Fair enough.
Hey, I mean, we've all learned, though, from Breaking Bad, spoiler alert, that there is always utility in knowing how to repair a garage door opener. You can get a lot of mileage out of that.
Don't know. Well, I stopped watching.
Well, somebody in chat will know. Somebody else in chat actually has fucking culture and watches good TV, so...
I tried. But, like, it really just... I hated Skylar so much. Anyway... that's cool though. That's cool. I get it because like I wasn't going to talk about it because it's not interesting at all. But I took apart our washing machine and cleaned it thoroughly, like in the inside. Took the drum out and all this stuff, and I felt very masculine after I did it. I was like, I fixed the thing. I didn't pay someone. I was going to pay someone to fix the thing until they were like, it's $500. And I was like, I'm not going to pay you to fix this. I'm going to YouTube that shit. So I get it. It's that feeling of accomplishment, right?
Yeah, and it is kind of that whole adulting bullshit. And it's like, oh, right. But it was also kind of like, oh, apparently I'm handier than I give myself credit for sometimes.
Oh,
and one, I don't know, getting the belt fixed and put back to where it should have been and whatnot, like. When you're doing the initial install on those, like you're doing like the belt work on the ground, it's very easy from what I remember watching the people who professionally installed the thing do. Trying to actually deal with that when you're 7.5 feet in the air and you're trying to retension everything correctly while in the air and rerun it's a huge pain in the ass with one person. In case you're wondering. Do not recommend trying to do that with one person.
It's good. Gravity's bullshit.
Should have had the cats help.
Yeah, stack them together, and then.
Funnily enough, all three of them were like in the garage, sitting on the car because I'd moved the car like over so I could get to the garage opener, and all three were just sitting on the car like, "What are you doing, Dad? Dad, what you doing? Dad, what you doing?"
I could
and yes, Sarah, I am 100% a handy expert. That is entirely accurate. You are not wrong.
Sure. I would imagine though that in fact the cats weren't curious, but rather like judgmental. Like, you're doing that wrong. Why are you doing it that way? You could probably do it way easier if you did it this way. Damn cat jokes. Well, that's good, man. It's good. Doing getting some sweat equity going. Well done, you. DK, you go. What did you fix this week?
Oh, so many things. I fixed a lot of grammar on people's essays. Whew, let me tell you, that is every bit as grueling and sweat-inducing as fixing a garage door. But it's a different kind of sweat. It's more like rage sweat. But also, I was just cheating on you guys with other laser tag content channels because I had the opportunity to record some commentary videos with Mr. Mischief over for his channel to look at a couple of POV videos that were shot during one during practice and then one kind of post tournament as well. I don't know if the second video has gone up at this point, but we did a breakdown on a game where Slaughtermelon absolutely wrecked the Chula Vista crew. But there were a few things that were interesting that came up in the video that I thought kind of bared commenting on. So we had a nice time setting that down. I probably could have talked about it for an hour and a half, but Mischief was like, we're trying to keep this like 15, 20 minutes, so maybe don't go too crazy.
And you're like, oh, but have you met me? Have you seen the content that we normally do for these? Are you sure I'm the right person if you only want 15 minutes of commentary?
I'm like trying to draw diagrams like it's fucking John Madden in the NFL, just going over to different places.
I did watch I think the first 2 or 3 minutes of that video before I had to go back and do actual work. It was good, really good. I'm still waiting on my call, Mischief. I noticed that it hasn't come yet, and you've done at least 3 guest commentators, so whatever.
See, you ask him. So I had forwarded that video that went up as a POV first, and I was just like, "Hey, this is an interesting video," kind of not so subtly hinting maybe I wanted to comment it. So if you just insert yourself into the conversation, maybe it'll go easier for you.
No. My ego's too big for. No, just kidding. I would much
Too
rather
big time.
hear. Yeah, I would much rather hear like properly thought out, well articulated viewpoints rather than me just screaming at whatever's happening. You're welcome, truly awful. That comment was for you. We did a show last night over on Blueson's channel. We talked about the best video game consoles of all time. Did a tier maker, and I shouted until I got my way. So
number one right over there.
Incorrect. I do like that, but I didn't, because you grew up with a Super Nintendo, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know anyone that had a Super Nintendo growing up. In fact, I knew
I know.
one.
The 90s didn't come to New Zealand until like 2012. I understand. Fucking third world country.
I knew one family with an NES. You're gonna excuse yourself before you say something you regret. It's all right. Like, if you say something, I'll just delete the comments. Fine. I have that power here.
Banned.
It was good. It was good. The Nintendo Switch won. Well deserved. Nintendo Switch, greatest console of all time. Don't give me that look. It really is. Have you played it?
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
Not properly.
Okay.
Whatever you say, Steve-O. Whatever you say.
Don't make me yell until I get my way. Okay.
I'm just gonna tune you out if you start yelling, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's just like normal.
Exactly.
Right. So let's pivot. We'll pivot towards some Laser Force Laser Force centric stuff. I mean, we were there talking about the POV videos, and I derailed us.
Yes, this was entirely your fault this time. So well done. Well done, bro. Well done.
So I wanted to bring up a couple of things. We got a few things I want to talk about today. I wanted to touch base on something that probably warrants more than just a passing thought. But that's all I'm going to give it today. There is conversation happening on the Laser Force tournaments comments section. I don't know. One of our players put a post up about cyberbullying and how a particular player was treated over WCT. I just wanted to reiterate, because we here at the Resupply pride ourselves on being able to bring the tournaments into the homes of anyone that's not attending the tournament personally. We like to make sure that you guys feel included, but we also cultivate a non-toxic, positive community here. There are pockets of the Laser Force community that can be quite toxic at times. I would love to see that sort of stuff removed from the community, or bred out, or no, maybe not bred out. That's probably the wrong way to put it. No one's breeding with anyone.
Laser tag eugenics. You heard it here first, folks.
But there is no. I mean, personal attacks on people is not acceptable. And anywhere in our community, but specifically in the place that we get to control, which is in our comment section. So there apparently, I haven't gone back and checked it out. I've been searching a little bit for some of the comments just to get some context as to what exactly was said, because it's one thing to accuse players of being dirty or cheating or whatever, and those comments, they get thrown around at tournaments a reasonable amount, and to some extent, if there are players that do play on that borderline between clean and not so clean, then I understand people calling them out, because I think our game should be played with some integrity, and at least maybe not integrity, but no, definitely integrity, but certainly at the very base level, played in a way where they are trying to play clean, trying to clean up errors that might creep into certain players' games, trying to play within the spirit of the game. Every now and again that doesn't happen, and I think calling people out on that is okay. I think calling people, personally attacking people is not okay. Calling into questions people's, calling into question people as themselves, that's not okay. I think it needs to be said, and I think it's a good way to. I think it's a good thing to bring this sort of stuff up, because it then generates a conversation that potentially needs to happen. But the more positive we can make our community, the less toxic we can make our community, the better our community is. And I've seen a place where it can happen, where like the Blue Sin community is a great example of a community that is sincerely non-toxic. It's an internet-based community that is sincerely non-toxic. So that's I strive to kind of be that kind of person. I would hope that other people do too. Do you guys want to add anything to that, or
Well, look, I mean, the bottom line is anytime you're on the internet, things like tone just don't convey.
yeah,
And like it happens when we're watching games and stuff like that. Somebody gets a penalty, everybody makes jokes like, "Oh, dirty cheater, what'd they do? What'd they do?" Like that's just joking around, talking shit.
That's right.
Taking the piss, as some of the Commonwealth folks say. That just is what it is. That's people messing around.
Yeah.
When it gets into chat, you have a permanent record of it. Like the line between when it becomes just joking around to trolling somebody to actually like cyberbullying somebody is not really all that easy sometimes to pick out where one ends and the other begins. It's in general kind of a problem that I have with social media, which is why I don't want to engage with certain forms of it, because I think that misunderstandings can arise very quickly, and if you don't have people's tone or facial cues or things like that to read, or you just don't have the kind of consequence of having to deal with somebody face to face on a daily basis, things escalate more quickly than they need to, and people just act like fucking dicks to each other.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be that way. Look, emotions around our game always run high, and that's good to a certain extent that everybody is emotionally invested. But yeah, I don't know. Just don't be a dick about it.
Well, we touched on it last week. One of the pitfalls of having the Twitch stream set up at a site and having it in the foyer where everyone is. One of the pitfalls of that is when people come out of the arena and they're highly wound up,
Agitated.
yeah,
They mad, bro?
yeah, then you can say some really dumb things, and I've been that guy. I sometimes am that guy. Like, I say dumb shit. I try my best not to. I'm only human. I say dumb things. Generally, I apologize once I have got rational brain back in. But obviously, if you can keep it out of your, your point of view, it's probably better. But like, yeah, there were times where you would pick up people saying, mean things on the microphone, and yeah, unfortunately, I think that is a product of having a highly competitive environment. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It is what it is.
So, new plan. We're just going to take the excerpts from chat. We're going to bring everybody on to read them like mean tweets. So everybody can just have a laugh at themselves, and we can hopefully all move on from there.
That's right.
That seems like a really bad idea. Let's not do that.
Yeah, it seems like that seems like a thing that could just go so wrong so quickly.
And I think also,
like, I thought about doing it with terrible like reviews on Rate My Professors and making a video about that, but then I might just break down crying in the middle of it. You don't know what's going to happen.
That's
don't
why
don't keep that camera rolling.
That's why I don't like roast humor. Roast humor to me is just, I don't understand. I like, be nice to people. Nice is so much better. Just be nice to people. Ahoy to you, Lucy. We were talking about your emotes before. I had an idea. I'm going to animate the lights one. And then we'll hopefully have those up next week. Tucker, welcome in. Good to see you. Did you want to add anything, Than, or shall we move on?
I mean, I feel like I'm sometimes a little too acidic with certain things.
The shirt says it all once again.
Yeah. No, and yeah, that there was definitely something that, commentary wise during Nats that I re-elevated that I probably shouldn't have. So, the consequences of having genuine dislike for people and just not being able to let it go when it doesn't need to be re-elevated.
Yeah. Yeah, these things happen. And like I said, we're human. Like, we do things that later we look back on and like, why?
Having said that, like, there's pretty much a 0% chance of it happening again because I excised the certain elements of the community that were generating of toxicness. So
It's good.
Admin abuse. I do it sometimes. Using admin powers. That's what I do.
Oh, I've just clicked as to what you're talking about. yeah.
A little slow on the uptick today. There,
No, I was just like, who's talking?
Keep
Oh,
up,
yeah,
keep
yeah,
up,
yeah.
keep
No,
up,
I
keep
mean,
up, keep up.
I'm not as privy to that situation as you guys. That's all super fresh for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, we apologize for being as vague as we are, chat. We'll move past that.
We're gonna vague book the shit out of this one.
They're like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Last week's show did also give me the opportunity to be like, yeah, you know what? I need some more laser tag back in my life. So I went ahead and booked myself a trip to the old St. George. So I'll have an action-packed 3 or 4 days coming up in just a few weeks. A little over 2 weeks, I'll be taking off. Hopefully, we're going to get a couple of nights of play in. Thunder seemed like he was receptive to that. I'm hopefully bringing at least a few people in the SAC crew with me.
Cool.
I've mentioned it to people who are outside of Sacramento. Sounds like a lot of people can't really get time off right now because a lot of people just took time off for a tournament.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
Is what it is. But I'm looking forward to it. That and doing some sightseeing, some hiking in the national parks. I'm planning a trip up to one that I haven't been to before, so I'm hoping that'll be a good time.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Just having done Zion, I can see why you guys raved about it. Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. And like I'm a snow guy. I love snow. Snow to me is beautiful. Having Zion blanketed with like just a layer of snow was just so primo. So
Yeah, when I went last year, I didn't even get into most of it but I went back to back days, and day one it was covered in snow,
whoa,
and by day two all the snow had fucking melted. It was fucking ridiculous, and
yeah.
it was amazing.
Um,
So yeah,
no, Loveland swing by. Loveland's not on the way to Utah.
No, I think I had mentioned to Tucker off stream that I was also thinking about making another trip to Loveland because I was thinking of taking a trip out to Colorado with the missus because just us going up to Estes Park reminded me of how much fun we had when the two of us went up there. I'm like, we should do that again. And I mean, if I were in the area, I might be persuaded to make a stop by Loveland to play a little bit of lasers.
maybe,
Awesome.
possibly.
Estes was beautiful. I think in hindsight, knowing what I know now about the places that we went to, I would have structured my recent trip a little differently. I would have liked to go out there for longer than a couple of hours, and actually, you guys, it was so dumb. Or we turned around and you guys had disappeared, and I was like, where'd those guys go? They're like, oh, they went for a walk. And I'm like, oh, cool. We'll hang out
disappeared
here
into the mountains.
in the car park. That's all right. We went and had some whiskey. It was good. Right. So speaking of Utah, there currently for Nats this year, there's a little bit of discussion going on about where Nats is going to be and when Nats is going to be. From my understanding, there's two sites in the running. It's currently Loveland and St. George in Utah. The two sites that are likely going to be hosting Nats this year. We don't have any updates about which one has confirmed, but I think St. George is kind of first in the queue, right? Like that's
Especially since Loveland just hosted a tournament, I feel like, and St. George has never hosted an official Nats. Like they are kind of first in the queue because, back in the quaint days when we thought we'd be going to Auckland in 2020, St. George had kind of already put in a bid to have 2021 at their place, and that seems like such a long time ago.
I mean, at this point, it is such a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally 2+ years since the world ended the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So I was talking to Eves about it, and I think the one thing that they were concerned about is this year's Nats not really being like a proper Nats, and so whilst they do want to host, they don't want to host a tournament that is lacking, and that's part of the reason why Auckland pulled out, because we could probably host like 4, maybe 5 teams, maybe. I think given off the back of what just happened in Loveland, I think that the turnout would be pretty decent in St. George.
Yeah, I mean, we only had like 4 countries come to Loveland. What a shit turnout.
I still just that still just blows my fucking mind that literally, yes, let's have people from everywhere just turn up. They're like, what?
Well, actually, on that, and I
Yeah,
can't remember if she said that I could share it or not, but I'll tease it. They are in the Czech Republic. They are looking at organizing a Space Marines tournament, which is very interesting. But the details haven't really been talked about yet, and there are some key differences. At the moment, one thing that I've heard is that resets they don't play with resets. They turn that functionality off. And yeah, and I don't know if they'll turn on for Space Marines. So, but again, we'll talk more about that when we get more information, because I'd like to have
Space
Lucy
Marines
on
without
tour.
resets is like vegan cheese. Like don't call it cheese. Just call it's vegan something, but it ain't cheese. Don't be calling it that.
Yeah.
My brain is broken thinking about Space Marines with no resets. But okay, we can move on. We can move on
Well, so
because it's not immediacy.
I believe Marcus is looking at going, and I believe possibly Smalley and some of the Brits are looking at going. And the thing that I said to them was, you guys get to act as ambassadors for how the game is supposed to be played. And so if you have to eat shit at the first tournament, playing a different style of Space Marines, no resets equals chase rule not required. Exactly right. But you could
that's true.
You could still kind of follow the meta around. Like if you ran and followed the meta around and you know just tried to like ping them, I mean you could potentially take way more lives off the meta. Like, I don't know. It's troublesome. You're being dragged. Yeah. So
There's a whole lot of implications we could talk about, but that's gonna definitely get us on a whole side topic.
Yeah,
and we haven't even confirmed that yet. So let's not get too deep into the weeds.
We'll talk
hang on. Don't isn't this show all about just wild fucking speculation?
Yes.
Hang on. Are we literally going away from wild speculation?
We're wildly speculating on something else today. We are going to wildly speculate on the topic that we had agreed on.
We agreed on a topic?
Ish.
That's news to me.
Ish. Wild stallions. Okay, so yeah, we'll talk about that when we get more information. I just wanted to put it out there in the ether, just in case somebody was like, I was planning to go to Europe. I could go to Europe. Yeah, so overall, that's a really good positive step, because if at the moment the Europeans don't play Space Marines, so if they're looking at doing that, or also, funny you're here, Maniac, could you please, or could I get somebody to contact you about doing stats for them if that's something that they decide to do? I don't know if that's easy or not, but yeah, we'll talk about it off stream.
I came in late. Recap everything, please. Where are you? One of my fucking students?
So yeah, I like at the moment those are the two sites. Come here, we'll be waiting. Exactly right. Yeah, so at the moment, one of those two sites, St. George or Loveland, are going to be hosting Nats this year. St. George is first in the queue. Will people be keen to go back to Loveland, seeing as we all just went there for a tournament?
I mean, I could go to Colorado in the summer anytime, and if there happens to be a tournament there, great. But I was thinking of already making a trip out there this summer, so that would make it real fucking easy for me.
So, well, seeing as it would be a Nats, it's sort of subject to different team rules than say a WCT, right? And I guess like there was only a couple of teams that had like mixed players in there, but
I mean, really, other than our team, most teams were pretty much kind of by the book.
Yeah.
And I mean, by the letter of law, technically, you could just bill our team as a Sacramento-Detroit hybrid. So
wait,
there were only a couple players from either site who came anyway. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, but I would imagine that means that you would be playing with Sacramento players, or
if there's enough of them.
I mean, surely.
That's always the open question.
Yeah, right. You plan to drag down Sac C? I mean, do you even play Laser Force anymore? Why are you here?
Sac C is just what we call our A team now. We've degraded a couple levels and we don't have any place to play.
Yeah, so off the back of playing some games, I played a members night obviously in St. George when I went there. Overall, I like the arena. People keep saying that it's similar to Auckland's. I would disagree. Mostly because, again, in St. George, there are places where you can shoot across the arena. I do have some video footage that I'll bring up in a minute, and for anyone that isn't familiar with St. George's Arena, this gives you kind of an overview of like the mazy area of the arena. In fact, let's just bring it up now. Let me switch to. I'm gonna switch to the screen share. Let's go here. And let's bring
Yes,
up...
Russ, it's an entire multimedia experience.
Yeah, we're like high tech and shit. Except like the video's frozen. There we go. Let's hide our faces.
Yeah, you don't need to see our faces. We have faces for radio. That's basically what that gets down to.
Ooh, let's turn that way down as well. So this is some footage. I set up a camera. Oh, look at that guy! Look at him running around, all nimbly bimbly. I set up. Actually, I will bring your faces back. I don't know why. It's changed the way that it.
They don't need to see our faces, Steve-O. Again,
Put the money
faces,
loser on the screen.
There we go. There we go.
Faces for radio.
Nah, that's good enough for me. So yeah, the arena, like, this looks at one. I would say, like, at a push, a third of the arena. It's not a big arena. It's not
That's
big.
fair-ish.
Yeah. This section up the kind of top center of your screen, that's kind of where one of the what the red resupply is currently set up. In some ways, it's similar to Auckland. We have some mazy parts of our arena and stuff, but in a lot of ways, it's not, because there are sections of this maze where you can shoot across the walls, and you could see people on the other side of the arena. This is in St. George Evo. So yeah, I would still say that the play style for this place is different. What do you? I mean, Than, you've played both. What are your thoughts?
So I think I've made the similar to Auckland comment a couple of times. In as much as the speed with the arena plays, because Auckland, kind of regardless of how Auckland's configured, for those of you that don't know, Auckland has 7 doorways and 3 doors that can be shifted within those doorways to basically change how the arena lays out on the first floor. But kind of no matter how Auckland is configured, even at its most defensive, Auckland is still a fast playing maze.
I'd agree with that.
And St. George is a fast playing maze. So from a speed of play perspective, they're very, very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the big difference is that there are more longer shots in St. George, which is weird for how small the arena is.
Yeah.
Auckland is a lot of very tall walls that have no cutouts that, definitely alter or reduce line of sight. St. George definitely has, as you can see in the video, a lot of very, curvy walls that that can make some shots interesting, and there are some cutouts that end up having to be, closed up in St. George to.
Oh, they do close them?
Yes,
That's
during
good.
tournaments, there are definitely cutouts. They're like, yeah, nope, that's going the fuck away, because it's just too dicey otherwise.
Which ones got covered up? Because I mean, I didn't go to the official West Coast that you guys had out there, but when we just had our little social thing, I don't think we covered anything up.
So see where the red resup are? I think that's meds against that wall. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just on that little sectional wall, not on the left, but on the center, I guess. I don't know. There is a cutout that looks directly into where the resupply sit. So that's the only one that I know of that they definitely block up, because I was shooting through it and I was like, this is easy. And they were like, oh, he doesn't know. And I was like, oh, fuck, they must not play with this one. So I stopped. Because that's what you're supposed to do, Loveland players. Yeah, but I don't know about any of the other ones. Cutouts, I'm not a big fan of cutouts. They're so hard.
They are, although the ones in St. George, I feel like by and large aren't the worst thing because most of them are fairly obvious in their location, and there's not a ton of different like specific angles that you need to learn. Like I feel like they're at least a little bit more intuitive in terms of how the cutouts work.
Wall hacks.
But yeah, anytime that we can get some of those random cheeky cutouts covered up, so much the better. And now
Yeah.
that you're mentioning it, I do think there was at least one cutout that you're talking about. It's probably the same one that we did cover up. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
There were a couple. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm thinking of there's one just coming out of green base that if it's not covered, you can
Yeah.
directly shoot from from one side to the other off the break. And then there were some ones like there's some ones around blue base that get covered or that got covered as well. But yeah, I mean it's St. George is just a very fast maze, but it's a fast maze that literally does have, you know, you know, I'll say three decent to good resupply spots, and then a fourth that is not terrible. So you
I'd
do
say two and a
actually
half.
have,
Yeah.
eh, but the point being that there are a couple of different things that you can do resupply wise. It's you can you know say you can go into green, you can go into blue, you can you can't necessarily recommend going to red. That one to me is the weakest, but you need to control that platform if you've taken yellow. So it's also a very zonal control maze, which plays a little differently than Auckland, because Auckland's not quite as imperative on the zonal control, but some of that is because you've got a lot more tall walls, so you don't have those longer shots.
Mm.
Um,
Which
yeah,
is
I mean,
why
so
none of us are good at crouching behind low walls. So we don't have to do it
well
all the
that
time.
Sure, use that as your excuse.
that and you're old
That too.
and your knees are shot. St. George's Maze is definitely one of those mazes that like it has 100% grown on me over time, and some of that is because they did make some changes to it.
Hmm.
I want to say, was it like 10, 12 years ago? Um, but the the changes that they made like made sense to make it a more competitive playing maze, and it's for as small of an arena as it is. I think it plays with a lot of depth as far as that goes.
Right.
So yeah, it's a fun maze.
My favorite thing about it, honestly, is that, and I can't remember if I mentioned this on the show or if I was talking to Luke about this a different time, so apologies if I'm repeating myself, but that from the break, either team has access to either of the primary resupply areas.
Mm.
So it's not a foregone conclusion that, well, at the start of the game, red's going to go here and green's going to go here. Like, I've run into situations where both teams try to take the same resupply area, and other times they kind of just of their own accord go to separate corners of the arena, and there's not a real hectic firefight right at the beginning. But because you have variations on, well, look, you can do one of like three different things at the start, but then there's also at least two or three different counters to that. Now there's at least like 8 or 9 different openings to the game that are going to evolve from there. Versus, I would say that was kind of maybe a drawback to the way that SAC played. As much as I loved the Sacramento field, it was pretty assured of what was going to happen from the start. Like, red's going to go to this area, green's going to go to this area. These are the primary display areas, and things will evolve from there. Things can go differently, but that's almost certainly how like 95% of the games are going to start. But there's no guarantee that any two games are going to start the same way in St. George, which I really do like about that field.
Yep.
To answer your question, Russ, the area at the top left side, in fact, that whole kind of back area, with the exception of where those planets are, is they're raised up on like 3 or 4 foot high platforms.
Yeah, there are two platforms. So on the far left of screen is the red platform, and then on the right is the yellow platform. So there are short ramps, probably like 4 feet high, maybe something like that. They do have a bit of height to them. There's the two platforms. And there's kind of like a little underhang area. There is an official upstairs part, but it's not utilized for Space Marines because
that's where the camera is.
Yeah, that's where the camera is, but it's not practical.
Yeah, because you can actually see the camera is the camera's up on top of a half-height chain link fence, and even that makes the camera like almost at roof height. You can see how close the roof and the actual fluorescent lights of the ceiling are. We were up there. I was like, it's really interesting that you guys have cut out like a third of the total arena size. And they were like, look, there's like rebar that like runs at head height, and if you're tall like some of their players are, you will get a head injury, and a fairly significant one.
I think we joked that Dill might not be physically able to operate in a lot of upstairs because he'd have to be like this the whole time.
He wouldn't be able to stand up.
He like gets to the top of the ramp and he's like scraping the ceiling.
So
he would be more than scraping the ceiling. He would definitely, his head would be in the ceiling. It's not even a question at that point.
So one issue that I have with this arena, and you can see all the jagged, all the tops of the walls are all jagged and cut out. Now in certain areas, especially see where the red player is currently peering out over that wall. With a lot of the way that a lot of players play standing sideways, as opposed to standing like front on. When you stand like
stay square, guys.
Oh my god.
Stay square.
Yeah. And this is what I harken back to, bad habits that get formed with players who are playing dirty. When you play like this, all of this side is blocked by your gun. Usually the walls are blocking your chest, and in some areas when you're moving around, the cutouts are blocking the other shoulder. So, and a lot of people aren't really aware of it because, they should be. That happens quite a bit in this arena. From my very limited time playing it, I saw that shot happen so many times. I've got, I think 4 or 5 GoPro point of view videos that I'll end up putting up. We don't have the scores, unfortunately, for those games. Something happened with the VODs, but I'll post them up at some point. Oh, we finished? Yeah, game's finished. Let's just pause.
Or there was an injury, one of the two.
No, it's the stream keeps lagging out with the video, so we may want to.
What, the stream?
Yes, the stream keeps lagging because
for you guys, not for
video
on this end.
This is the first I'm hearing of it. Chat hasn't said anything.
Yeah, it's because it happens on your end, not mine. That's fine. But what I was saying, I can't even remember what I was saying. Probably not that important.
Talking about players, developing the right habits, ideally staying square.
Yeah.
Because of the way the cutouts work, and I know that certainly was a struggle for me. Pretty much right up through, I think, 2009, 2010, when we started playing with more Australia and New Zealand players, that just kind of that habit of being more like over your shoulder and lining up like you would with a rifle, essentially. But that's not, always going to promote the cleanest form of play. Now, I will say... I was
going to say that I see more Americans doing it, but whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that I think that's how a lot of Americans have kind of described it toward, so it's more like sighting down a rifle or something like that. So your shoulders kind of squared up there. It was really from watching most Australian New Zealand players where it's like you just kind of stay in the box, and that's always the advice that I give to newer players.
Yeah. In
that regard. Now, I will say, especially I think even more so with Gen 8, there are plenty of legal ways that you can make that shot, even if you're blocking one of your shoulders. And I even saw this a few times at West Coast, where from my perspective as a ref, there were some people who were just like, hey, watch that person's gun over that shoulder. But their chest was definitely out and exposed.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing you need to watch is like, is the gun leading before the chest comes out? So that's why it's like, if you're staying square, there's pretty much no risk that you're going to get a blind fire. So you can do it other ways. You have to be a lot more mindful, and mindfulness sometimes can slip away in the heat of battle. So I don't think anybody's trying to do it intentionally, I don't think,
No.
but as you said, that's where, bad habits can arise.
Yeah. This arena is really fun. You have a microphone, you can ask people.
Yeah, but you were talking, and so I was trying to let you continue your point without interrupting you, because I'm actually, occasionally, rarely, good at this whole broadcasting thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just you. Your sound's also.
It's just your faulty Texas internet.
That's not entirely inaccurate.
Now I do want to say, this arena is really fun to play. So if you are, I mean, regardless of wherever Nats gets held, if you can, you should go. But especially make the effort if you haven't played St. George's Arena before. If they end up hosting, it's really fun to play. I'd imagine that a lot of games aren't gonna go to time. There are a couple of areas, as you can see, like, you can see it. Okay, so like this area here, I don't think you guys can see, but chat will be able to see. This area here is actually a chain link fence, and there's a bunch of times where I hid behind the chain link fence, not facing the chain link fence, but not realizing that like anyone could see me hiding behind this low wall. Yeah, so don't do that. And actually, to give you guys at home a better idea, this here is a ramp that goes up to this raised area here, which extends kind of around to the side here. This here is a ramp that goes up to this whole area here. There's another ramp that goes down this way, and this whole area back here is raised as well. The cutout we were talking about is just down here, and it looks directly into where the resupply sit, which is here. Which, if you don't know that you're not supposed to shoot through there, that's a great shot to be taken.
Yep. Yep. That one is definitely covered up the last few times I've played Space Marines there. So yes, you were refreshing my memory such that I forgot there even was a cutout there, because I'm not used to using it.
Yeah. Well, so I didn't know, and I was like, oh, I legit can see them right there, and so I took one shot.
Look at these idiots sitting here.
Yeah, I was like, why would you hold this? It's a terrible spot. But yeah, like I heard somebody make the mention, oh, he doesn't know, and I was like, oh, okay, I know what that means. It means that they probably don't make this shot. But yeah, it's really fun. It was a great time. Thank you to St. George people for showing up and letting me play your arena, because I had a great time playing it. We don't, don't fill it up. Get a planner or something, mate. Get a planner. Did you guys want to talk about anything more to do with that particular arena?
God, there's so much stuff to talk about with St. George. Those platforms, if they are not properly controlled by your team, will give you nightmares and severe PTSD. So just be prepared.
So is there a Nats this year? Hang on, sorry, my camera's being a dick. Stop being a dick. There we go.
Confidence is high.
So, Traj, there will be a Nats. It'll likely be in the States. No, it's not likely. It is going to be in the States, because I reached out. In fact, I didn't reach out to you, which was dumb. I should reach out to you as well. But from my understanding, there were a bunch of Australians that said they won't be coming to New Zealand this year, even if the borders do open up, at least in July. There's no COVID here anymore. That's exactly the sentiment that I got when I was in the States. No one COVID's not a thing there anymore. So well done. Yeah, so there won't it'll either be in St. George or it'll be in Loveland. It'll be 3 months to plan for it. Yeah, I think what we'll also do, I think
more than that.
what'll be a good idea, Traj, is if we do our own version of West Coast, some sort of tournament where the Australasian community can get together, because I know it's been a while since any of you have traveled anywhere to play. So we can arrange something, whether or not that's here or there, or if it looks like a triple threat tournament here where we play across the 3 sites again. We can work something out maybe for later in the year if people are interested. So if people want to do that, we can certainly look to do that. However, if you're in a position where you can go to the States this year, I highly recommend that you do. The COVID restrictions are seemingly lifting everywhere, so if you've got your vaccinations and you're not too fussed about getting COVID, maybe look to book a trip. Curry can play.
Oh God, corrupt ass fucking city. Yankees run that goddamn city hall, fucking New York.
Yeah,
I'm not mad.
Get out and play yourself some laser tag. It's good for the soul.
I mean, in all seriousness, though, Traj, this has just kind of come up. It's really kind of intended more to be like a I guess fake Nats, not even 3.0, like fake Nats 2.1. So like we would obviously love to have people come from overseas.
Yeah.
But I think kind of the general feeling was nobody knew how quickly borders were going to reopen, whether they were going to reopen.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve barely knew if he was going to be able to make that West Coast trip, and flip-flopped on us a couple of times as to whether or not he could actually make the trip. So yeah. So we've only even had the prospect of even considering being able to host overseas players for the last couple of weeks. So there really wasn't another time when we could have been like, yes, we're officially having a Nats. So the talk of a quote unquote US Nats really kind of only came up as of West Coast. So if it feels like we're springing it on you, it's because it's kind of sprung on us, everybody, because we just decided that we're done with COVID. It may not be done with us, but
Traj, that is something that I think is definitely on the cards, and that's kind of the time frame that I thought as well. So we'll look to do something. Then it'll be smaller. It'll be, West Coast kind of like, you don't have to play with your home sites. You can actually make some teams if you want. It'll be fun. It'll be like the early days of Australasian Nats. And we can play with the format a little bit.
Like Smalley.
Yeah. Like 5 teams. But yeah, like I said, pretty much the thoughts or the feelings going around almost everywhere was we won't be able to come to New Zealand this year, regardless of what happens with the borders, because people are, I don't know, they need to know like a year in advance apparently in the States to book any sort of leave. Next year though,
get a job where you have summers off. It's really easy, guys.
Next year,
I think it's more, having a job that actually gives you leave is sometimes the challenge.
Next year Auckland will definitely be hosting internationals. I would expect the wider Laser Force community to make the effort to come down to Australasia, because you've only had 4 years to prepare for it now by that point. So, make the effort. Come down and see us. Once we get confirmation of what happens with Nats this year, perhaps we will get the site representative to come on here and wax poetic again about wherever it gets held. I had a bunch of people actually come up to me at West Coast and be like, hey, would you ever like to have guests on? I was like, we have guests on? They're like, well, could I come on? Like, yeah. If you've got something to say and you want to come on the podcast and it's actually worth talking about, let us know, because we're always looking for other people to create content for us. So yeah, come on and
We can be lazy. Yeah.
come on and we'll ask you questions. It's way easier. You send pictures, yeah, but you know, I don't know who you are. You don't actually play this
Lies.
game, do you?
I feel like we've invited you on at least like 4 times, and you've always been like, nope, can't do it.
Sorry, building Lego. Oh, Russ. This week I bought 15 kgs of Lego from our local op shop. And it's a glorious thing. What's that? That's like 30 pounds, 40 pounds, something like that.
30 plus. 30
Yeah,
plus. It's like
so
closer to 35. About 35 pounds.
That's a good chunk of Lego.
It's so good. I've been like sorting it and shit. That'll be how I Milk Wednesday's content for the next little while, was sorting out this giant pile of Lego. It's great. Right. Do we want to talk about anything else? Was there anything I'm forgetting to mention?
Probably, but you know, that's okay. Exactly.
If anybody wants to come play lasers with us in St. George when I'm there, I'll be there. I think April 12th and 13th are the nights that we're hoping to play. The 12th it would be a Tuesday. That's their usual member night. But from my talks with Thunder, he's going to try to get in a second night since we're going to be there Wednesday night as well.
Mix the Lego with water and create a pillar. What? Who taught you science?
Science is whatever we want it to be.
You'll be in Hawaii because COVID is over. Smart.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a good tropical island with laser force, consider New Zealand. Although tropical is probably
locks himself in his mansion for 2 years, immediately gets COVID as soon as he goes outside.
All right. Look, this week we've got a little bit of content coming up. Hopefully, we get to play Laser Force on Tuesday. We were supposed to, we had numbers on Tuesday all ready to go, and we reached out to Laser Force, and they said, "Oh, actually, sorry, we closed this Tuesday." And we're like, "Fuck!" So hopefully, this coming Tuesday, we'll actually get to play some lasers. I'm itching to play some Space Marines so badly.
It might just be a rash, bro.
Maybe. Wednesday,
for that.
Wednesday I'll be going through some of this Lego. Thursday we'll be back with Thunderdome Thursday. Last week we played golf and it was hilarious. Don't play golf, kids. It's dumb. And then next week will be Guy Next Door's birthday edition of the Resupply podcast. I think the following week will then be Than's birthday edition of the Resupply podcast. Does that kind of work out?
Happy 90th! Happy 90th! Yay!
Yeah, but I won't be here for my birthday. I'll be in Los Angeles, so you guys just have to do the show without me.
Fair.
We will have your birthday in absentia.
Well, if someone wants to come on and sub for Than, let us know.
You got to be like a level 6 though.
Yeah,
out of 10.
That's right.
Because I'm only a level 6 now.
Oh no, you're higher than that on this podcast. Right, but
10-10-9 among co-hosts.
We'll let you guys figure out who the 9 is among the two teams.
I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, probably me.
It's Steve-O.
Yeah.
The one who's always distracted.
All right.
Squirrel!
We'll see you guys next week. But for this week, I have been Guy Next Door.
I've been DK.
And I've been Than.
Always remember to backtrack, kids. Thank you very much for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate you guys' continued support of the channel and the content we produce. We will see you all next week. Ka kite anō.
Later.
I've been throwing daggers in the keep me hanging on so tight. Sometimes I just have to wonder, do you know wrong from right? 'Cause you don't know what I know, but you don't feel the way I feel. All these places I wanna go,